On the Rise on 104.5 WFMB, and I am Benny, and today I am joined by an artist and songwriter, Clayton Mullen. He's been on tour with multiple artists that you guys probably know, like Corey Kent and Warren Ziders. He released his first album in 2023 and is continuing to tour around the country with artist Clayton. Thanks for coming on the Rise.
Yeah, Benny, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So, Clayton, tell us a little bit about your journey to where you are now. What has your path looked like in music?
Yeah, honestly, I think my path through music has been pretty unconventional. I just started really writing songs about 2 years ago, and before that, I hadn't sang much until college. And as I was telling you, I joined a fraternity band. So my fraternity had a band for tailgates, and they were looking for a new singer. So my sophomore year, I was like, I might as well try it. It'd be fun. And one thing led to another, and we started playing shows, and kids were showing up. And I guess the way it escalated from there is I went on a show called American Idol
Oh,
my junior year.
you were on American Idol?
Yeah, so my junior year I went on American Idol. So that was season 20, and it was in Austin, Texas. So I had to, funny story, I had to email my like the TCU chancellor at our school and ask for some time off from school because it was going to be like a week and a half. I was going to be missing classes.
Oh my gosh. So did you ever so you sung a little bit like when you were younger? Did you know you knew music, but you just like how,
Yeah, I mean, I was around it. My older siblings are like classically trained singers. My
okay.
dad played the guitar, but I mean, all of my other siblings, I'm one of seven kids. They all
Oh
were
wow.
like in the choir and stuff. I never did that. Um and like I'd always been around music. I would sing in the shower, but nothing past that until college.
Yeah, so what I guess, so you're singing in this band. When did you kind of decide, okay, after college, I'm gonna move to Nashville? What was the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, it really was very last minute. So I was going through interview processes like with companies trying to figure out what I was. It was probably this time last year, honestly. About March last year, I was interviewing with companies thinking I was going to go work a sales job. And I guess a pro and a con, but I got denied from like my dream company. I was like
Everything
eight.
happens for a reason.
I know. I was like eight interviews in, like thought I had it secured, and like they were like, we're gonna pursue other candidates, and I was like crushed. And then just a couple weeks later, I had some interest from publishing companies in town, and one of which was Courtney Allen, who eventually signed to, and I think that was like the God moment that I needed to realize that I was maybe meant to do, or at least try other things.
Yeah. So you just kind of picked up and you just tell your parents, I'm going to Nashville and I'm just gonna try this.
Yeah, honestly, it pretty much was exactly like that. I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know if it'll work, but I know in a year, if it doesn't, then I can find a job. I think this is the
Yeah.
best time for me to try it.
Yeah, so I first heard of you because of TikTok, which I feel like I don't know, did you kind of start posting on TikTok, just like start posting your songs and stuff? Because I heard your
Yes.
song Like That, I believe is what it's called, and I loved it. I started listening to it all the time. But how would you say, you moved to Nashville in kind of a very social media driven time? How has that helped your career? I feel like a lot of artists are we're seeing is on TikTok and stuff like that. That's how they really jumpstart their career. Do you credit it at all to any of your successes and stuff?
Yeah, I do credit TikTok definitely because without TikTok, I mean, the way the algorithm works, it gets your content out to just like a way bigger group of people than say how Instagram, like the old algorithms used to work. So because of that, I was able to get a bigger reach, and I don't think anybody in Nashville would have been paying attention to what I was doing without TikTok. So I do credit a lot of my successes to just the fact that one of my videos popped up on some random people's desks or phones one day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think TikTok is great, but it's not like the only thing that
Oh, no, but I think it gave you, because you're moving to Nashville and you don't really have, I don't know, you didn't really have like any connections there or anything. You kind of just jumped through the ring. And that's kind of my next question was what was it like moving straight from college to Nashville and getting thrown into these writing sessions with other artists? Like the learning curve, you're learning how to write and what it looks like and all of that. And, for someone who didn't have a lot of connections or anything there, Was it a learning curve?
Yeah, it was a big learning curve. And honestly, I have such a great publisher, Courtney Allen. So she was so strategic with setting up my rights and making sure that I was getting in with the veteran writers, the guys who have all those big songs. But she was also keeping me in line and knowing that I'd only written so many songs before. So she was getting me in with younger guys where I could learn and guys who I could experiment more with and not just have that high pressure of like today I'm writing with this guy who has a song on the radio right now. So I
Yeah.
think there was a little bit of a learning curve there, but Courtney kind of knew what she was working with me, and she set it up in a way that it was easy to transition into it.
And I think having the right team around you too, some people that believe in you and want to help you learn and aren't just trying to use you, to get their
Totally.
songs on the radio. They really genuinely want to help you become a better person and an artist.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm surrounded by the best team and we're not skipping any steps, whether that be in songwriting or with my team who's helping with touring, like making sure we're not skipping those steps, which has
Yeah.
been great.
So you released your album last year, correct?
Yep, where the time goes.
Tell us about this project. What was it? What was how did it come about?
So those were all pieces that I wrote in my college house. I lived with 10 guys. So
10 of you in one house?
well, it was technically three houses on one property, but
Wow.
so where the time goes, that kind of just like was summarizing, tying into a bow that chapter of life where I started writing songs. Like I don't think any of those songs are my best songs. They weren't the best produced. They were all on a budget, but I wanted to kind of wrap up that chapter of college where I started and put them into a project. And yeah, the title track "Where the Time Goes" is my favorite song probably I've ever written. Just like all the memories that I had with my buddies, it was a cool thing that we could take with us
Yeah, and you'll
after
always
school.
look back on that album, and be like, this is where I started. This was kind of where it all began. And I think that'll help create a foundation, as you grow more and as you get more listeners, they can kind of go through your albums and your songs and realize it's like like timestamp.
Totally. And I think that's something really cool. I love doing that with artists. One guy, for example, Riley Green. If you listen to his old stuff, it was produced like crap, but
Yeah.
you could hear the potential in it, and the lyrics were so good, and the melodies were so good. And then you feel like you grow with the artist as you listen to their stuff as it gets more produced and polished and better.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about like touring. What have you recently went out with anyone or anything in the future coming up?
Yeah, we just got off last month in February. We were on the road with Warren Ziders on
Oh
his
my
Pretty Little
gosh.
Poison tour. That was cool. His song did hit #1 on the last day of our tour there. So it was pretty cool to see that and be a part of such a special. That crew is so good. They taught us so much. But touring's been great. We like to keep our foot. I know I moved to Nashville, but I love to keep my foot in the door in Texas and keep those relations, keep playing those markets because that's where I started. But yeah, this summer we're playing a bunch of festivals all over the country. We'll be in Utah, we'll be
Oh,
in Florida,
awesome.
Nevada. Yeah.
How did you go about are your band guys, did they know you before? Or did you kind of did you recruit them once you got to town?
Yeah, so they were all kids from TCU, so they're all my buddies at
What?
at first, but then when I moved to town, a couple of them had to go grab some jobs. But my bass player, he's still the same guy from the fraternity band. The drummer, he's a guy I met in town, and then the other guitar players are new guys who I met in town as well. But
Oh,
it
that's
did
so
start just as those fraternity guys for a while.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to be premiering your song Raining in Dallas after the interview, but I kind of, whenever I do this with artists, I like to, because the human mind, people kind of want to have a vision of it, like what are they about to listen to? Would they like it? Is it something that would interest them? So, what was the vision like kind of behind this song and putting it together and create a picture for us?
Yeah, I mean, so Raining in Dallas is painting the picture of a breakup where this girl, it seems like all she has is these blue skies, the California skies, the sunsets, the cloudless days, and the guy who's in Dallas, he's it's raining there, whether it's metaphorical and it's
Oh,
like he's drinking or
wow.
raining, but Yeah, it's like the one line that leads up to the hook is I don't give a damn what the weatherman says about it. So whether it's raining or not, it's raining on this guy in Dallas. It's dark skies. It's hard nights. And I think we wanted to set up with like a piano ballad, kind of open
Yeah.
up the space in the song. And I think we did a great job at that. Ben Van Marth, my producer, crushed it. And it's one of my favorites.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear it. Yeah, I think, I don't know, that's awesome. I love this storytelling. You know how some songs, there's not really a story, it's just kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah.
I think that those are some of the most impactful songs.
I agree. I'm with you there.
So far in your career, what would you say the coolest moment has been?
Ooh, that's a good question. The
Out of
coolest
everything.
moment, the coolest moment in my career. I mean, I gotta say, like the first show that we played, the first full band show that we played was at a place called Billy Bob's in Texas. It's in Fort Worth. And just going to school in Fort Worth and being able to play that stage, I'd seen Thomas Rhett play there. I'd seen Randall King play. Every guy who I look up to has
Yeah.
played that stage. And my senior year, we got to play that before graduating. So it was me and all those fraternity buddies. And we played it opening up for Josh Abbott, who's one of my favorite artists. So I think that was one of the biggest moments. That was a little early on, but
Were you
I
nervous?
mean, it's weird. You get nervous going up to it, but then when you're on stage, you kind of just snap out of it, and you're so locked in that it time flies by.
Well, I announced Dylan Scott on Saturday night and I had to be up on stage in front of everyone. I was just up there and there's 1,000 people staring back at me and I'm like, how do these people do it? Because I'm fine. I can talk, I can do whatever. But you have
Yeah,
all those people staring at you, just waiting to hear you talk or sing.
yeah.
Oh,
How
I
was it?
mean,
Were you nervous?
well, like I'm a very confident person, but when I got up there, I'm like holding the microphone and talking it, and people start like chanting, and they're like, I've never felt, I've never been nervous like that. And then finally, I'm like, you know what, guys, I gotta go. And I just
That's funny.
but no, I can see how, it's like that build up, the anticipation, and you get up there and that adrenaline's going and you're just like, you're good. You have your
Right.
guys.
Yeah, the biggest thing is time flies when you're on stage. Like whether it's an hour, whether it's 45 minutes, it feels like a couple minutes. You're up and you're off.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so kind of to wrap this up, I always like to ask artists if they could give, since everybody's journey is kind of different, if you could give one piece of advice to somebody who maybe is interested in doing something like you're doing or isn't really sure what they want to do, your journey was very like, I'm going to school for something, and then you start singing, and the next thing you know, you're moving to Nashville and not getting an actual, a real full-time job. So what piece of advice would you give someone maybe that is kind of going through what you were going through?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I think a couple things. The first thing I'd say, and I've told guys this before who are kind of in my shoes, is like the songs you're writing now are not the best songs you're ever going to write. So I was very quick to release stuff and put them out, but I think if I could do it differently, I might have waited a little bit longer and let those songs get stronger. And if I had launched my career a year from now and I had the songs that much better, it could have been, I don't know if it would have made a difference for my career, but I always tell guys like, just keep writing songs. You'll get better and better each time. And I guess the other thing is like, don't worry about your social growth each day. TikTok it's going to come and go. Instagram's going to come and go. But if you can control the things that you do daily, whether that's writing a song or editing videos or making sure you're on the road every month, whatever that is, those are the things you can control. You can't control your YouTube subscribers or anything like that. So always make sure you're taking care of the things you can control, and the things that you can't control will fall into place.
And I think habits, creating that routine for yourself. Like you pop up on my For You page sometimes, like doing your day in the life, like you're about to
Yeah,
leave
yeah,
to go on the road or something. But I think the mindset's really important because it can be very easy to give up. It can be very easy to get down on yourself, but it's just create,
definitely.
even if you're just writing a couple times a week, just keep it going. So I really
Totally.
like that. Well, Clayton, thank you so much for joining me
Yeah, I appreciate it,
today.
Benny. Thank
I'm
you.
so excited to see all the things you do in your career, and I think hopefully we'll be hearing a lot more of you soon.